talk about the 3 levels of learning today, okay? And the reason we have to do this is because everybody learns differently. Everybody's in a different stage of learning. And, you can't give an infant who can't crawl the instructions to sprint, right? That's a recipe for disaster and disappointment. So I want to go through the 3 levels of learning in hopes that you can find clarity whenever and wherever you find yourself along your journey. You'll know exactly where you are in that learning curve, and you'll know what that level, what the steps are next to kind of push to the next level. That's my goal, okay? Now, this is also going to be very helpful for women who feel like, or who are in the zone right now of, I know what to do, I'm just not motivated to do it. I know what to do, I just need to work harder, right? If you find yourself saying some variation of that phase, this is really gonna help you, okay? Now, is walking easy? Are you guys pretty good at walking? Except maybe when we're tipsy or maybe when we fall upstairs on bad days. We're pretty good walkers, right? What about talkers? Are we pretty good at talking? We can hold a sentence, we can hold a conversation, yeah? And what about writing? We can write a proper sentence with proper grammar. We can write a letter to someone. We can write an email. Yes, we're all proficient in those things. Experts, they're easy, right? Why are they easy? Write in the comments. Why are those things easy now? Why? Why is walking so easy we don't even think about it? You ever end up in the kitchen and you don't even know how you got there? You ever end up in the bathroom and you're like, oh, what was I getting? You just don't even think about it. You just do, right? Exactly. It's practice. From almost the day you were born, you were groomed to become good at those things, right? And so whenever you enter a weight loss or health transformation, your ultimate goal, ultimate main goal should be, how do I get health to become as easy as walking and talking and writing? That should be your ultimate goal, right? Weight loss and toning and doing a pull-up. Those are all great goals along the way. But the main guiding light is, how can I make health as easy as walking down my hallway? That is the goal, right? So having said that, how do we do that? How do we get there? Okay. And we do that through the process of course, learning. And there are 3 levels. Okay. So let me break them down. Level number 1 is information, right? If you're learning anything, if you're starting anything, you have to have some type of information, right? Now, do not underestimate the power of the right information, and do not underestimate the destruction of the wrong information or too much information, okay? Big distinction. Most people, when they start something, it's about all the information that they could get, right? Information. But if you have all this information and it's not been verified and you got it from your aunt, twice removed cousin's sister, it's not useful. You might as well have just gotten 0 information. So the first step in any learning process, when you are learning a new skill, a new habit, a new mindset, is, do I have the right information to tackle this? Not someone else's information, not information I got from Cosmo or I got from, freaking Wikipedia or Google search, right? You got to have the right information. That is so overlooked, okay? And when you're asking yourself, do I have the right information? You write down what you know about the topic or about the habit or whatever you're learning. You write down what you know, and then you say, what was prescribed to me by an expert or a professional? And then if you have that, or if you don't have that, the next thing you look for is that knowledge, did I obtain that from a reputable source, or did I research it myself like I would do research for a university essay or paper? If the answer is no, it's not from somebody who's at the goal you want. If it's not from a professional, and if you just quickly Googled it, That's not the right information. Okay? So right information is key to know where we are starting and what we do next, okay, in order to make it to the next level. So information, basic level, not just any information, too much information, we're bombarded, keto diet, fasting, this burns belly fat, this gains weight, don't eat after 8 p.m., carbs are the enemy. Like, all this information in the moment you think is right because you see someone who's fit telling you it, right? But did you take time to do any in-depth research? Most likely not, because we're usually in a place of desperation when starting something out. We're in an intense, uncomfortable phase. That learning curve at the beginning of learning something is extremely uncomfortable. You just want to get through it and make it past being a beginner and then go to intermediate, right? So the information is key. Do not overlook the right information. So this goes for anything in life. When you are trying to figure something out for you, you will not find the best path or the fastest path if it is not right and you do not put the effort in on your end. Okay, so can you all sit here and say you've put in effort either by getting it from a professional or actually researching it yourself? Have you put in the effort to know how to lose weight? Or are you just going off of what you've heard from other people and advertisements? So level 1, information, okay? So the right information will be, there's really only, depending on your goal, we'll talk about weight loss, there's only one way to lose weight. One way. Not a million different fad diets to do it. There's only one way to lose weight. Write in the comments if you think you know what it is. You probably do. There's only one way. That one way, ladies, is burn more than you consume in a day. Period. You need to know that. That's the right information, right? It's not I have to be on a keto diet and just eat fats and no carbs. It's not I can't eat breakfast. It's just burning more than you consume, and that is called a calorie deficit. You need to be in a calorie deficit. If you're not losing weight, if the scale's not going down, you are not in a calorie deficit, even if you think you are. You're not, okay? That's the right information. All those fad diets and hypes and exciting, cool new things, guess what? They all put you in a calorie deficit. That's why they work temporarily, because it's a weird calorie deficit. It's just wrapped weird, so people go on, grab onto it for a little bit, but they put you in a calorie deficit. You need to know that, because now we go to, okay, what's the best calorie deficit for me, right? If I have to burn more than I consume, then I need to be burning more with workouts that I enjoy, that are toning me and fit into my schedule. And I need to be consuming less with food I enjoy, it's tasty, I still have high energy, and I'm not getting nutrient deficient, right? We break it down like that. That's what you need to know. That's the right information, not what time do I need to eat, not our carbs and blah, blah, blah. That's not right. Do the research. That's level 1, okay? Now, once you have your right information, which should take more time than you're used to. We're used to just making quick decisions because you want it now, right? So once you've kind of got the right information for you and your goal specifically, we move on to level 2 of learning, okay, in your journey. And a lot of you listening to me right now are at that level, okay? And level 2 is habits, okay? This is what turns information into implementation. That's the difference. This is where you're stuck between level 1 and level 2 if you find yourself saying, I know what to do, I just can't make myself do it. Or I can't get motivated enough, or I just need to work harder. This is where you're stuck. And so the habits is where you find the practice to make health as easy as walking, right? That's where you get the practice from. Now, here's the thing with habits, ladies. Habits are great and they work if they're the right fit for you, okay? If you are just putting a Band-Aid on your already broken, unhealthy lifestyle, the habit will not last. Is a Band-Aid going to work in the beginning? Yes. Is it necessary sometimes? Yes. To give you a quick little motivation and push you to keep going. Band-Aids have their place of these habits where we throw them into our life, they get us started. Here's the thing. If you find yourself saying, why can't I be as motivated as I was when I started? It's because the habits you used when you started were like a Band-Aid. They worked. Now when you're trying to do the same habits, the Band-Aid's falling off. Nothing in your environment and lifestyle has changed except that you threw habits into it. X, Y, and Z habits, right? It's like taking a square peg and trying to fit it into a circle hole. Not gonna work. It just won't mesh. The habits will keep falling off because nothing else is changing. And so here's what needs to be done in this phase to make these habits, again, easier to practice, because the more practice we get in, the more good practice we get in, the closer we get to becoming an expert, right? So this is probably one of the most significant perspective shifts you can ever have. So you've all heard the phrase, be the hardest worker in the room, right? You've heard that before? Be the hardest worker in the room. Does anybody live by that motto at all? And so here's the thing. I love that phrase, and it has its place, and you can't reach any goal without hard work, right? Hard work is the prerequisite to success, period, right? Everybody's got to work hard. But here's the thing. There will always be someone prettier than you. There will always be someone smarter than you. There will also always be someone who works harder than you, right? Always. So you're never actually probably ever going to be the hardest worker in any room, right? So that's not a good measuring tool, right? Because, you know, whether you complete a habit or don't complete a habit, if you're using measuring your hard work as why it's not getting done, you'll get disappointed, right? If the reason you didn't do the habit was because you've telling yourself you're not working hard enough, you'll be disappointed, because then you're holding yourself to high expectations that you fell short of, and then you're perpetuating this I need to be a workhorse mentality. So here's the perspective shift. It's not about outworking everyone. That's not the secret. The secret is, how can I out-sacrifice everyone? That is tough to hear for a lot of people. You will never be able to outwork anyone or yourself. That's just too much. We're enjoying life too. You can out-sacrifice. If you are finding that the habits are not sticking, you are not sacrificing enough. And that is a very hard pill to swallow. Because what it means is you've chosen the easy habits. They're not working anymore. Guess what? Now it's time for the hard habits. If every week, you know, you're eating ice cream. Let's say the problem is ice cream. Every week you're eating ice cream. It's in the freezer. You're eating it. Next week you're going to say, I'm just going to work harder. I don't need it. I'm just not going to have it this week. But then you have it. And then you have it and you have it. Then the next week comes and you say, I'm just going to work harder. I can do better. I'm going to be more motivated. I just need to work harder again. Right? And then the week comes and we eat ice cream and we snack and we eat more ice cream. Right? Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Zero has changed. You didn't change your environment. You just thought maybe this would be different. But there's nothing that's actually changed. And so the question you need to be asking yourself is, what can I sacrifice? Guess what? You gotta throw the ice cream out. You have to throw it out. Whatever your ice cream is in your life right now, we all have the ice cream in something. You have to eliminate it. That is tough, and a lot of ladies are not willing to go that far, right? There's something in your life that you are not willing to go that far, right? Something you're saying, I'm going to do all of this except that, right? I'm going to do all of that except that. I won't do that. Well, guess what? That's going to be the thing that comes and bites you in the ass. So if you find yourself again and again, I know what to do, I'm not doing it. I just need to work harder. I just need to be more motivated. You say those things, guess what? It's time to sacrifice. It's time to actually change your environment. Is your household need an overhaul? Do the people you live with need to sit down and have a real conversation with. Sacrifice is uncomfortable, right? I love to go dancing. I love to go to a bar. I love to go bowling, right? I love to do all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I ask myself, I'm not going to be able to outwork everyone, but I can out-sacrifice. I will miss out on things. I will stay in and do things that other people are not willing to do. Not working harder, just doing the work other people want to do, because my future self is going to benefit. It comes back to instant gratification here, right? We want instant gratification and we don't get it. We feel like we're missing out. And when we feel like we're missing out, we think we're not living life. And when we feel that way, we don't want to do what we're doing anymore because you think that's not how I want to live life. Well, that's not how you want, but how you are now is not what you want to be in the future. So it's a catch-22 here. So you have to ask yourself sacrifice. So level number 2 is the habits, right? Practicing the information, implementing the information, the right information that you've taken time to make sure it's right. Then you start habits, either taking away habits or adding little habits. And then if those habits are not sticking, you will not make it to level 3. And the answer is sacrifice at that point. Not a full 180 where you're living in a mud hut, growing your own food. That's not what I am saying. But there needs to be some sacrifice. Are you holding on to something because it's just like, what are you protecting yourself from? What makes you so uncomfortable? What's that thing that if I told you had to do, you'd be like, hell no. Why does it make you so uncomfortable to be without that? Ask yourself that, because that's going to stop you from getting to level 3. Okay, so if you're stuck between 1 and 2, it's usually a sacrifice issue. You've been trying so hard not to sacrifice for so long. You've just been adding things on top of your regular norm, right? So that's number 2. Now, number 3, this is how you know you've put in a lot of work. This is, if you've made it to level number 3 in the learning process, you should be very proud of yourself because this takes a lot of reps. And phase number 3 is your transformation, okay? This is when your habits are no longer habits, they are your identity, okay? You don't meal prep, you're a meal planner. You don't work out, you're an athlete, right? That's the difference between phase 2 and phase 3. So if you're starting to align yourself with different character traits, different habits, if you are starting to miss not doing healthy habits, if you're starting to feel weird when you can't work out, things like that, right? That's when you know you're on the cusp of a level 3 transformation. And that's a good sign. And depending on where you are in all different aspects, you'll be in the different levels, right? In fitness, you might be at a level 3. In food, you might be a level 1. In mindset, you might be a level 2. It changes across all aspects in everything in life, how we learn. And it's a cycle, right? So as soon as you reach level 3 in something, guess what? Something new comes along, a new learning curve. You start from level 1, you got to learn the right information, you got to learn the habits, then you got to make it your identity. That is your process here. That is what you ladies and any lady on a weight loss journey is constantly going through. Most ladies don't push it to level 3. Most people don't learn enough to make it to level 3. And so what I want you to kind of take away from this, ladies, is if you ever catch yourself saying, I know, or I know, I already know what to do. Like the word know. Ask yourself, how do I know? What level do I actually know? Like what level do I know it at? So break it down into your life. What level do I know my meal prepping at? What level do I know my workouts at? What level do I know my scheduling at? What level? 1, 2, or 3? That's how you start. Then once you know where you're at there, and if that's the bottleneck and that area is what you're struggling with, now you know where that roadblock is. You now know if you're on a 1, we got to go to a level 2 with some habits. If the habits are struggling, we sacrifice. If you know you're a level 2 and you're banging out habits with exercise, no problem, guess what? You're about to be a level 3. and it's going to become your identity. And that's where we want to be. That's how health becomes easy. That's how it becomes as easy as walking. When we get to number 3 and we keep practicing number 3, and years down the line, you are being healthy without thinking about it, without stressing about it, without it being a chore, without dreading it. That is the dream goal. Come on. Like, come on. How amazing is that? That's what we're all fighting for. That's what you are fighting for. That's why you're on this call. That's why you're listening. That's what we're trying to fight for. It's hard in the beginning. It's hard in the middle. It's hard in the end. But eventually it all clicks and it gets easier. And that's what you are trying to do, ladies. Okay? So, taking away from this, what you can do, ladies, as you could take this and break this down in every area if you wanted to, but for simplicity's sake, I would say pick the area that you're struggling the most, or you think you need more help with, or you're not happy with. Pick whatever area that is, okay? Then start at level 1. What information do you know about it? Everything you could possibly think of. Make a list, really quick list of, let's just brain dump, okay? And then everything on that list, ask yourself, what was verified by a professional, and what did I put research in? And scratch off anything else that's not those 2 things. Then you're left with the right information. Then you can move forward. Most of the time, when you are struggling, it's bringing it back to the information side of things, because we know what was right, but when we screw up again and again, we get flustered and we think something's wrong. And then all the old information pours back into our head, right? Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should try this. This isn't working anymore. Maybe this will work. And then we don't get the right information. We just get information overload. So step number 1, write out your information, pick what's the right information, then say, okay, how can that be turned into a habit? If you have the habits already and you're struggling, it means you're trying to fit the square peg into the circle hole. Something needs to be given. Something needs to be changed here. Where can the sacrifice come from? That's your next stage. And if you're sacrificing, if you are constantly making changes, if the habits are sticking, then ask yourself, am I in a level 3 yet? Am I changing the way that I talk to myself? I talk about myself. Do I find myself in conversations with people wanting to talk about working out, wanting to talk about any cool new recipes? Like, is your identity shifting? That's the cool part. And that's kind of your reward. Okay, ladies? So, really quickly, as usual, I want you to write your takeaways in the comments. How are you going to use this? Is this going to be something you pull out of your back pocket later on when you need it? Are you struggling right now on a level? Where would you say you are right now? Let me know your takeaways. And this is super helpful because, like I said at the beginning, you can't give an infant directions to sprint if they can't even crawl. If you don't even, like, if you're just given instructions and you don't even know where you're starting from, good luck trying to read them. It's going to be it's going to be a 3rd, 2nd, 4th, 5th language, right? So we got to know what we are doing first, know that it is right for us because we put effort into it, and then work on the habits and sacrifice, right? Don't keep throwing old habits, new this, new this. Stop throwing new things at something that's already burning. It's not fitting. It's not sticking for a reason because you haven't actually embraced the fact that this habit, in order for it to stick, it can't stick in your current lifestyle. It can't stick in your current environment. It can't stick in your current household. That's very heavy. That's very uncomfortable. And that's not what you want to hear sometimes, because that requires a lot of action. Not just something you can do alone anymore, usually, right? It requires a lot of action to sit down and be like, hey, family, this can't happen. That's hard, and people aren't going to be happy, and you're going to have to deal with backlash. So that's the hard part. So take away what you must. Use this little trick to kind of clarify what your next level should be when you find you're stuck. And above all else, realize that this is a very uncomfortable journey. It's not only difficult, it's uncomfortable. And I want you to thank yourselves for listening to this call and being open to the information and forgiving yourself for, how can we put it? Forgiving yourself for not diving in head first because you thought you already did. So forgive yourself. That's what this journey is all about. It's about realizing, oh, I'm not the person I thought I was. I'm not in the lifestyle I thought I wanted. My goal is actually not what I wanted. This isn't what I wanted. It's always changing. That's that level 3. If there's growing pains, that's the level 3. That's the level 3. We're creating a new identity. You need to be a new woman, new thought processes, new behavior patterns, new woman up here, and the rest follows and health becomes easy. All right, ladies. So thank you very much for joining me. Very heavy chat. Definitely sit on it. Sit on it. Think about it. Objectively look at your life and see, is this true for me? Objectively look and see, am I actually doing everything except the one thing I won't do, which is the one thing you need to do the most? Ask yourself. Be open. It's not a good feeling calling yourself out like that. So ask yourself, and if you guys want to talk about it, you let me know. If you just realized something, let me know. If you're mad at me now, let me know. And we can talk about it. All right? So this is what gets the conversations flowing about that uncomfortable level of things on this journey. So thank you for listening and being open about it, ladies. You guys are always awesome, and I love your company. And enjoy your night. All right? Bye, ladies.